Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Stephen Einstein. Thank you all for joining me today as we go through and we do June 2nd for 2023 from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Yesterday I opened up with a really great one. I was just rereading the first and the last lines again, and you know that the truth of the matter is the painful consequences of all self-seeking must be met and passed through. So like you will suffer your consequences. You will have to go through your consequences, good or bad. So I'm looking forward to what today has, though. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me. So this will be my first time hearing it right on this podcast with you. And you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go. This is June 2nd's reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Man is the maker of happiness and misery. That is the truth. Perspective is everything. Fixed attitudes of mind determine courses of conduct, and from courses of conduct come those reactions called happiness and unhappiness. This being so, it follows that to alter the reactive condition, one must alter the active thought. To exchange misery for happiness, it is a necessary to reverse the fixed attitude of mind and habitual course of conduct, which is the cause of misery. The reverse effect will appear in the mind and life. A man has no power to be happy while thinking and acting selfishly. He cannot be unhappy while thinking and acting unselfishly. Wheresoever the cause is, there the effect will appear. Man cannot abrogate effects, but he can alter causes. He cannot purify his nature. He can remold his character. There is a great power in self-conquest. There is great joy in transforming oneself. Each man is circumscribed by his own thoughts. That is an awesome one. First, that line summarized everything. Man is the maker of happiness and misery. If you have a general feeling of discontentment in your life, if you have a general sense of maybe revulsion is a word, or general disdain for people, or a negative view of life, I can guarantee you're probably thinking of yourself much more than you're thinking about others. You're thinking about how others serve you rather than how you can serve others. That was at least my experience, because everything I thought about was in the perspective of myself and only myself. I didn't give anything the time of day outside of that, because I didn't think there was any other way to think. I didn't know that it was possible to think a different way. I just didn't understand. So the first line, it opens with, man is the maker of happiness and misery. It's been my truth. In the 12-step community, people say it's a new pair of glasses. People say that addiction and alcoholism, and however you want to phrase it, is a matter of perception. And some have said that they sat on their front porch in their rocking chair. This is from a story from a very well-known AA member. And he was miserable and was sitting in hell. And then after working the program and going through everything, and his perspective changed, and he was sitting in that same chair in the same situation, but he was finding much of heaven. And I believe that can be true for everybody. I believe that is possible for everybody to have that change of perspective, to grow and to become something that they didn't know was possible to become. So, man is the maker of his happiness and his misery, and that is a matter of perspective. So, the main body, this is just expands on that first thought. The fixed attitudes of mind. The fixed attitudes of mind determine courses of conduct, and from courses of conduct come those reactions called happiness, and unhappiness. So, it's our mind frame, it's our perspective, it's our understanding of our situation that causes us happiness or unhappiness. So, our perspective, our attitude determines our course of conduct, and when our conduct determines our happiness or unhappiness. A lot of people, I've said it many times actually, is happiness is the result of living well, living rightly. I believe that. He goes on to say, this being so, it follows that to alter the reactive condition, one must alter the active thought. To exchange misery for happiness, it is necessary to reverse the fixed attitude of mind and habitual course of conduct, which is the cause of misery, and the reverse effect will appear in the mind and life. That's amazing, isn't it? So, that being so it follows to alter the reactive condition, one must alter the active thought. So, if you're scared of everything, your reactions, the way you interact with the world, will be fear-based, right? If you're thinking selfish thoughts, it'll be all reactions based upon you and your fears and your personal desires and your own self-centered thinking. But when you change it to a loving perspective and a loving motivation, a God-centered or a righteousness and truth-centered living or an others-centered living, you take actions that reflect that. Your actions show that, right? So to exchange misery for happiness, it is necessary to reverse the fixed attitude of mind and habitual course of conduct, which is the cause of misery. So when you change where your mind's acting from, the reverse effect will appear in the mind and life. That's pretty powerful stuff. Because it gives the power over to us. We don't have to wait for somebody else to do something. We don't have to ask for somebody else to give it to us. We don't have to do anything but change how we think. It's amazing. The next paragraph. A man has no power to be happy while thinking and acting selfishly. I do. I believe that to be wholeheartedly true. When you're constantly and solely thinking about yourself, you're never content. You never have satisfaction with life. It's always lacking. But when you can switch it, you can find happiness and joy. The more you think about the self, usually, the more miserable you are. That's what I found. That was my own personal experience. The less I think about me, the better off I am. Which, in some ways, confuses me. Because you think when I always thought that if I was thinking about myself, I would make sure I'd put myself in this position or situations to be happy in life. But happiness doesn't come from that, because I end up hurting other people. I end up stepping on other people's toes, cutting other people's throats, doing what I need to do to get to a place where I think I'll be happy, instead of actually understanding that I'm making myself miserable by taking that perspective. It's pretty amazing. Because he goes on to say here, he cannot be unhappy while thinking and acting unselfishly. So when we do for others, when we help others, right? When we help others, there's no way we can't be happy. That's the coolest thing. The joy I see on people's faces and the joy I get as a byproduct of genuinely wanting to help another human being blows me away. I didn't even know it was possible to feel that amount of happiness and joy and contentment in my life until I started doing that. It's such a drastic contrast of mindset and attitude. It's amazing. He says next, wheresoever the cause is, the effect will appear. So what drives your actions, the effect will mirror that. So if it's fear-based and selfish-based, you will harm other people and harm yourself. And you put yourself in a terrible position. If it's love-based, you will help other people and find joy and contentment in life. And that won't even be the goal. You'll just want to be of service to other people. And then suddenly you'll find yourself in a much more peaceful place. All right. So this is the word I wanted to look up. In the next line it says, a man cannot abrogate effects, but he can alter causes. Abrogate. Repeal or do away with. So what this means is the effects will always be the effects. The only thing that can change is really the cause. Our actions, our thoughts, our intentions are the only things that can change, right? And that has been, again, my experience. I liked to act in a certain way, but get results that weren't in alignment with my actions. Meaning, I was acting selfishly, and I expected other people to act unselfishly in response to that. It doesn't make much sense now. Then it did. That's the scary part about it. I justified all of it, and I thought I was in the right from almost all of it. So it blows my mind, actually, sometimes. So we cannot abrogate effects. We cannot repeal. We cannot circumvent effects, but we can alter the causes. He can purify his nature. He can remold his character. What a blessing that is. What a joy it is to know that that is true. I can purify my thoughts. I can purify my actions. I can purify my intentions. And that's where it really starts. We stop bad behaviors to see the thoughts behind them. When we see the thoughts behind them, we wonder where they're coming from. Fear, self-centered fear most of the time. And when we can come from an other-centered place of love, there will be different thoughts that come about, and then there will be different actions. So we tear down in reverse, and we build up going forward. It's very interesting. But by doing that, we can purify our nature, and we can remold our character. We can be people of principled living, right? We can be honest people, forgiving, loving, courageous, hopeful, faithful, people of integrity, right? Which is what I always wanted to be, but I just never could figure out how to do it. Because when I was doing it to try to serve my own desire to do it for myself, my level of honesty was directly proportionate to how well honesty I believed would serve me. Which usually wasn't much. I always was too selfish. So, purify his nature, remold his character. There is great power in self-conquest. That's the only place true power comes from. Is conquering yourself, is remolding and reforming yourself. That's where real true power lies. And when you can do that, he finishes the main body of this by saying there is great joy in transforming oneself. And let me tell you, it's the best journey I've ever taken. It's one that I wish and I pray and I hope that everyone can find, is this journey of self-conquest and the purification of ourselves and remold our character into that ideal that we strive for, Christ-like ideal in many ways. It's just amazing to me. So, and then this last line, each man is circumscribed by his own thoughts. Circumscribed, I looked it up, means limited, restricted. So what? The only restrictions we really have are the ones we place upon ourselves. Thank God that's the answer, because that means we can change it. And if we can change it, the possibilities are just absolutely endless. And that's relieving and encouraging for a man like me. So that is where we will end today. And thank y'all for joining me. Another extremely just hope-filled one. This one was great because it was like, here's a dose of reality. You cause your own misery, but you can change that. And that's one of the most hopeful things I needed to hear when I came in here. So I'm really grateful for today's reading. It's a great reminder. So I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. So I will look. June started out pretty strong. These first 2 days, I'm going to look forward to what June brings, and we'll go from there. So until next time, thanks.